Well, I'm very excited today to talk more about Salon Today, particularly the Salon Today Top 200. I'll do the introductions now. So we've got Stacy with us, the Director of Brand Content Strategy at Salon Today. She has nearly, I think this is the right way to put it, nearly 3 decades of experience covering the salon industry. And you've gotten quite a bit of experience in business strategy, content creation, industry trends. And at Salon Today, Stacy leads the brand's digital print and event content, including celebrated recognition programs like Salon Today 200, Salons of the Year, and Stamp. She also plays a key role in Data-Driven Salon Summit, helping salon owners leverage data for business growth. And we are going to be at Data-Driven next month, and we're very excited about it. So I'd love that you were also involved there. Well, let's go ahead and start with you, Stacy. If you would tell us a little bit about the history of the competition and how this came about and what the focus is. What's the drive behind it?
Well, the focus has changed several times over the years, so we'll talk about that a little bit. But when we launched it back in 1989, I think it's the right year. It was like the era of mergers and acquisitions, of like the Fast Company magazine. It was all about growth. So we launched it as primarily a growth competition. So we're asking owners to submit their W-2s to prove their sales at the time. We don't do that anymore. And we were measuring 1 year growth from 1 year to the next. And we did that for a couple of reasons. We wanted to, at the time there was NAHA, there was lots of awards for the artistry in our industry, but nothing for business savvy and for the owners. So we wanted to recognize the smart business minds in our industry. And we also wanted to start establishing data benchmarks that people could measure themselves against. Because this was the time before that most salons didn't have software, or they were just starting to have software, but they didn't have like pools of data, what they were giving. They could tell you what you were doing, but you didn't know what everybody else was doing at the time. So today we do have more areas to look at data, but that was one of our primary goals at the beginning. And then we also wanted to create a forum where people could share great ideas. We wanted to promote the successful sharing of great ideas. And then we had a very selfish reason for starting it. It provided great content for us for the entire year, because people do write in-depth essays on a number of different challenges, and it helps us identify sources for stories moving forward. And now, I think coming out of the pandemic, we started asking them to write a successes and challenges essay. And we say up front, we're not judging you on your challenges. We simply want to know so that we can design content that feeds the pain points that you're addressing right now. So, and that's through the magazine, through the website, through things like Data-Driven. So it informs us of what people are going through.
Very cool.
When the Great Recession hit in 2008, we knew that it wasn't enough to just do growth anymore. We didn't think we'd have 200 salons that grew. And actually we didn't have 200 entries of people in growth. So we launched these best practices categories. So it was a different opportunity. You could still apply for growth, but it was a different opportunity to highlight your success. And we had 10 different best practice categories, and we let people enter as many as they could. Then the pandemic struck, and we took a hit to our team of editors. I used to have 9 editors that helped judge. Now we're down to 2. So we said you can't enter as many best practices as you can. Now we say you have to choose. You have to choose one.
Yeah. How did you come up with the categories? And if you want to highlight some of them that are outside.
We do change them over the years, but some of them are the same, like customer service is always in there, philanthropy, technology. We had a marketing category once upon a time. We broke that out. We had so many cool entries in that with kind of show and tell kind of things. So we developed Stamp. I haven't done it in the last couple of years, but that's a competition just on marketing. And then every year or two, we introduce a new category. So this year we had a new one called business builders. So in that category, we ask you to identify either a new product line, a new service you onboarded, or a new best management practice that really drove your growth, and talk about it.
So tell us a little bit more about the process then of receiving these entries. You know, have two editors that are reviewing. How does that go through? Like, what are the things that you're looking for? How's that process?
Yeah, we're really looking for the quality of the ideas. And that's one thing I always tell people, because people get hung up. It is an arduous task to enter. So I think that the competition itself self-selects. So we see a lot of people start it and drop out at the essay part, but I don't want people to be intimidated by the essay. And I always say, like, I can't cut my hair. I don't, like, that's your expertise. Writing is ours. I don't expect you to be a fantastic writer. But we do want to see, like, the ideas of the bright ideas within it. And I know that some people use AI to help them get started, and I think that's fine. We don't want you to use AI to write your essays, because you're not going to win. The focus is, what are you doing that's unique and different to propel your business? And we want to celebrate that, which AI doesn't know. No, we don't look at grammar, punctuation, spelling. We kind of like score, we give points to, like, the ideas. We love data. So if you're talking about something that has a measurable quantity, and like you did X, and you say at employee education, you onboarded so many employees, you graduated, they're on the floor, they're successful, like, talk about that. What are they earning? How are they adding to your salon's value? So, for example, one of our categories is salon culture, and everybody starts that category as, we're like just a family. Everybody loves each other. And I kind of just like slash you the whole paragraph, because I don't believe it. It's not. So in culture, what did you do? How did you celebrate your culture? How do you guide the culture? What are you specifically doing? But don't tell me you're just a happy family, because we don't believe it.
We're a family. It's just, you've heard it so many times, it loses its meaning.
And that's not measurable.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about how challenging the essay is. What are the requirements of the essay? Is there a certain length, and like what is?
We limit it to 1,000 words.
Okay.
But we do tell you, you don't have to, don't put a lot of flowery prose to stretch it to 1,000 if you've got what you're happy with. Each essay question is really like a series of questions. There may be like between 8 and 10 questions. So, and those questions are really kind of guiding you through what we're looking for. If you don't have an answer to every one of those questions, it's okay, because maybe you didn't do something in that area, but it kind of guides you through what we're looking for. And so what I tell people is, like, number one is, I think it's a good team activity to sit around with your team and say, here are the categories this year. What do you think we're strong in? What do you think we've done in the last year in this area? And because some people remember things differently than you do, or think that they were more successful than you did. But I think it's a good team activity, and then to go through those prompt questions and kind of start gathering notes. I think that's a great thing to do in a team meeting.
You mentioned before when we were communicating, Stacy, about specific strategies that owners can use as they're creating this application for the Salon Today Top 200. You've touched on a little bit with the essays, but what are some of those other strategies that they can do as they're applying and trying to make it into this tier of salon?
Well, like the first 3 pages well, it's not pages anymore because it's all electronic, but I still think in old print terms. So it used to be a 8-page thing. And the first 5 pages, I think, were like, you're just basic data about your business. So you just enter those in. I don't think there's much strategy to that. The strategy really comes in picking the right essay for yourself, focusing on your own uniqueness. I would say there are some salons that get hung up sometimes because they embrace like a manufacturer's, let's say a loyalty program, and then they write about it, but they will actually pick up the vernacular from, I can tell from like the manufacturer of how that competition works because I'll see 20 identical essays with the same verbiage. So focus on like it's great if you had that loyalty program is working for you, but focus on what you did to make it unique. How did you roll it out to your employee or your clients? How do you get your employees behind it? That kind of thing. So really focus on what you're doing that's unique in your salon. And sometimes you can even talk about something that didn't work. I think that's still an amazing lesson that you learned. Like we
Mhm.
pivoted because we were doing this and it didn't work. And we pivoted and
Right.
now things are getting better. So,
Yeah.
and coming out of the pandemic, the essay questions were about how are you navigating this humongous challenge. And it wasn't a level playing field, right? Salons were closed different amounts of time in different states. So it wasn't fair for us to compare people on growth when some people weren't open for 10 months out of the year. So
Yes, great point.
let me look over and see what else. So gather the feedback from your team that we judge on the quality of the idea, not the grammar. Focus on your uniqueness. And then I said we are data focused and you should be too, which I talked about a little bit. Oh, and then if you know an owner who's been in the 200, reach out to them. Don't be afraid to reach out. It's become a community of people that really help each other. So lean into that.